All right, so I'm gonna get to work on showing y'all this smoked sausage. I'm gonna go step by step in making it and trying to be as informative as possible. I'm here today to show y'all that you can make it without any fancy tools. You don't need any fancy buildings, no walk-in coolers. You know, as long as you got a deep freeze, a refrigerator, and a few little tools around, you can make this and save yourself a heck of a lot of money. I use Boston butts. You know, there probably are some cheaper options out there, but this is the easiest for me because I can just go by the grocery store, get it, and I'm ready to rock and roll. So the first step, get you a good sharp knife, get you a Boston butt, and start cutting it up into small pieces because we're gonna need this entire butt for this sausage. We're gonna cut it. What I like to do is just put it in a little sack because we're gonna put this in the deep freeze. Most people have a deep freeze, so you can use that. If you have a walk-in cooler, by all means use it. But who has money for that? We're just gonna start cutting it up. And when it comes to this Boston butt and you're gonna be running it through a grinder, you really need some small pieces, and this fat is gonna wanna smear instead of cut, so you need to get it as cold as possible. I mean, right on the edge of freezing. You need little pieces like that. Just start cutting it up when you get to the bone, cut as much as you can. And when it comes to making smoked sausage, the ratio that I use and what most people use is a 50-50 ratio. 50% venison and 50% pork. These Boston butts have a pretty good ratio between fat and meat, so it gives you just about the right mixture that you're looking for. Just cut it into small pieces and get it all the way down. And when you get it down, throw it in the deep freeze and get it right at the about point of frozen. That's when it cuts pretty good. That fat doesn't tend to smear. All right, we're gonna grind up some of this pork butt. I've got roughly about 10 pounds of pork because we're gonna make 20 pounds even, close enough to even, of smoked sausage. These packets right here that I get in the mail, this is Legs Plantation smoked sausage seasoning. This stuff is really good. Now it's good for 25 pounds of meat. 25 pounds is a little bit harder to kind of get the ratio just right. It's just a lot easier for me to do 10 pounds of venison and 10 pounds of pork butt. Plus, you know, you got about 2 Boston butts and you got to get the ratios right. And if you do 25 pounds, the seasoning is just a little bit bland. I've done this enough to learn if you do 20 pounds, the seasoning is a little bit stronger and the flavor is a little bit better. But they also give you a packet of the pink curing salt. So we're gonna get started on grinding up this pork. I've got it separated about 5 pounds each. That way I can keep some of the pork in the deep freeze, continuously getting colder and semi-frozen. I'm gonna grind this up. When I grind this up, I'm gonna put it in that big tub over there on the table. And then I'm gonna get the other bag out and I'm gonna start grinding that up, and then we'll keep moving on with the process. All right, ready? Get on this, Logan. I'm gonna have my youngest son videotaping to help out a little bit. You can tell this grinder is wore out. You can see the worm gear in it is just turning. So we're gonna grind this pork up, and this pork is a little bit harder to grind because it's got so much fat in it. So this is a little time consuming. Venison tends to be a little bit easier to grind because it doesn't have any fat to it. Now, forgive me, I ran out of my rubber gloves. I normally wear rubber gloves dealing with pork. I ran out, and I just haven't been to the store. So we're gonna be as clean as possible with this. See, you can tell the grinder's struggling a little bit. We're gonna get all this ground up and we'll come back in just a minute. All right, you can turn it off. When you're grinding this pork, you can probably tell that it's semi-frozen. That's what you're wanting, because the colder the better. You want it as cold as possible. You put it in here. I got it loaded. You just slowly feed it, and you really want small pieces. Now, depending on the size of your grinder, you really need to pay attention to how big your pieces are. But you can tell that's pretty frozen. So it cuts that fat better. Like I said, you just slowly feed it, get it all ground. All right, so now that I've got all the pork ground up, forgot to mention there's one more thing you're going to need if you're doing anything with processing your own meat, is you're going to need a kitchen scale. Most of these kitchen scales you get at Walmart. You can get them dirt cheap. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them on eBay, wherever. Temu probably sells them. I don't fool with Temu, but get you a little decent kitchen scale. They're about, $15. If you're ever doing jerky, summer sausage, smoked sausage, anything dealing with a household, these really come in handy. So I'm doing 20 pounds. I've got right at a little over 10 pounds of pork. I've got 10 pounds of venison. I'm about to start mixing this together. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix these together in this tub right here. I'm gonna put this in this tub. This tub is showing its age, but it's clean, I assure you. I'm gonna mix the pork and the venison together. And then I'm gonna start working in my seasoning, all right? All right, one thing I was gonna add is when you are initially breaking a deer down, when you grind it up, what I do throughout the season, when I'm hunting, when I kill a deer, I get it home, primarily I clean them out there on the ground, I process them, I get them down off the bone, usually out in the field. I get them home and, of course they're in the cooler. Get them home, clean them up, make sure there's no hair, nothing like that on the meat. Then I grind them. When I grind them and I start to process them, I have a vacuum sealer. And I like to weigh mine at a 1.5 pound ratio. And it makes it easier on me when I'm weighing this stuff. Because when I put it in the freezer, it allows me to keep hunting. And usually when I get time on a free weekend or after deer season like it is now, it's going on March, I have some free time, so I like to make this stuff. So what I like to do is I make them a 1.5 pound ratios, and when I pull this hamburger meat out of the freezer, it is ready to go. I know exactly what it weighs. It saves me time, so I just pull however many packs I want for however much sausage I want to make, or if I'm making chili, if I'm making deer tacos, or whatever I'm doing with this, I know exactly how much it weighs before I even thaw it out. So I pull the packs out, and boom, I'm ready to rock and roll. So I'm adding 10 pounds of venison. There you go again, 1.5 pounds. Cut it. Dump it in here. Like I said, we're going for an even 20 pounds. And it don't have to be exactly precise. It can be 21. It can be 19. It can be 22. It don't have to be actually precise. This seasoning is made for 25 pounds anyways. So we're just going to get this in here. And then when we get all this meat in here together, what we're gonna do, well, I done got all the venison now. What we're gonna do when we get all this in here together, we're gonna put it back in the deep freeze again to get it super cold. And when we go to mix all the seasoning and water, because this takes water, and the curing salt, the best thing to do is mix this by hand. They do make mixers out there, but they're expensive. You know, they're really, really expensive, especially since you're only recreationally using them, you know, once every now and then. It's not really feasible to buy one, in my opinion. So it's best to mix these by hand. What is it, Logan? We're gonna use it in a minute. But we're gonna get all this together. We're gonna put it in the deep freeze. We're gonna get it super cold, and we're gonna bring it out. We're gonna mix all the seasoning, the water, the curing salt. We're gonna hand mix it as best as we can. And what we're doing is we're looking for that protein extraction. When you mix all that together, you're gonna start to notice that the meat gets tacky, gets really, really tacky. And it will try to stick to your hands, your gloves, because normally I have gloves on, but like I said, I'm out of gloves. You'll notice that it gets sticky and tacky. When it gets sticky and tacky, you've got it just right. So then, what I do is I put it back in the deep freeze for about 30 minutes to get it super cold again. And then we're gonna run it through the grinder one more time, and that's gonna blend all the seasonings and everything together, and you will be ready to rock and roll. All right, so this package, we've done got this out of the freezer. It's super cold. We're about to mix it all together by hand. This Legs Plantation, each one of them are a little bit different. This one tells you everything you need to know. So we've done coarse ground everything through with a 1/2-inch plate on the grinder. All right, we've already transferred it to the mixture and add the seasoning. We're about to do that right now. We're gonna add the 1 ounce of cure. This is the curing salt. It also calls for 3 pounds of water. All right. Now what we're gonna do when we mix this for 3 minutes, you're gonna get that protein extraction I was telling you about. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this in this bowl. You don't have to do this, but it will help mix a little bit better. This is for 25 pounds. We're doing an even 20. All right. So we're gonna throw that aside. Get this open. This is the curing salt. And like I said, this is for 25 pounds of meat. All right, we're gonna throw that in here. All right. When you buy this Legs Plantation, usually I get it at 100 pounds at a time. Well, it's seasoned for 100 pounds. It comes with, I think it's 4 pounds of seasoning, 4 of these packets, and 100 pounds worth of hog casings. So these bottles of water, you can weigh it out however you want to. But these bottles of water are right at about a pound a piece. So it's easy just to grab 3 of them. We're gonna add 3 of these. You can get water out of the faucet. You can do whatever it is you want to do. I just found it's easier just to get 3 bottles of water because I know how much they weigh. All right, we got 3 pounds of water. Mix that up. Just, you know, you don't have to do this, but you can kind of get everything going when you start to dump it in there with the meat. All right, we're going to transfer this. Now, one thing about making sausage, whether it be summer sausage or smoked sausage, is if it doesn't absolutely freeze your hands when you're mixing this by hand, it is not cold enough. So you can take a little bit of meat and you can kind of get the rest of that out. All right, I'm about to freeze my hands off. This part sucks. I'm not gonna lie to you. This part sucks because when you're mixing it by hand, it is gonna freeze your hands solid. But you got to do it. So we're gonna mix it by hand, and it, you know, takes a few minutes. It may not be exactly 3 minutes like it says, but you see all that liquid in there, it looks like it's a lot, but once you mix it together, you'll see what's going to happen. You're going to get that protein extraction. Ooh, it's cold, Logan.
Bet you it is.
It is cold, buddy. And you can take breaks, you know, if your hands get too cold, you can always take breaks. A few minutes, warm your hands up. I'm gonna try to make it, I'm gonna try to make it all the way through so y'all can see this without taking my hands out. See how it's starting to thicken up already? You're starting to get a little bit of that, you're starting to get a little bit of that protein extraction already.
So you gotta do a challenge.
Yeah. If you keep on mixing it, it'll thicken up and get tacky like I was telling you about. See, it's starting to thicken up now. See how it's starting to get sticky a little bit? Keep on mixing it. It's not ready yet, but it's getting there. Ooh, ooh. Just keep videotaping. Ooh.
Look at his hands.
Ooh, they're shaking. They're cold. This part sucks. Of course, if you had rubber gloves on, it would be better. Like I said, I ran out. I had every intention on using them, but you know, it's not the end of the world. All you gotta do is wash your hands. All right.
Here you go again.
It's starting to thicken up a little bit now. All right, it's really starting to get tacky now. It's getting close. We're not quite there yet. I can't feel nothing in my hands. Like I said, if it's not cold enough, if this meat has been sitting out, say 30, 45 minutes, and it's done warmed up a little bit, not only are you gonna start to get bacteria growth, but you're not gonna get the protein extraction that you're looking for. It's not gonna mix as well. So you need to have it super cold. You need to have it painfully cold for it to mix right and to keep bacteria growth down, because you're dealing with pork. All right, now look at it now. See how, look at that chunk of meat. Look at that, how it's sticking to my hands. All right. Okay. See how it's wanting to hold together in clumps? That's just about right. That's what you're looking for. We're gonna mix it a little bit longer.
Get it just right.
Yep, get it just right. Now this is getting real close now.
Real close.
You see it? How it's really getting super tacky. Now you would have never thought, having that much water in here, that it would become at this stage. But that's just about what you're looking for. It can even be mixed a little bit more and get a little more tacky. Now when you start to stuff this sausage, if it is too dry and it's not really moist, add more water to it. It's not gonna hurt it. It's not gonna hurt it a bit. Because when you go to smoke this, all that water is gonna, a lot of the water is gonna evaporate. So it's not even gonna matter. But look at that. See how it's getting really tacky? Look at that. It's holding in my hand. Yeah, that's what you want right there.
And
that's what you want.
Look,
that's what you want. Mix it till you get that. All right, you can turn it off. All right, now that this meat has been sitting in the deep freeze for a little while, getting super cold, it's time to run it through the grinder one last time. So I have the seasoning, the curing salt, and the water. I've got the protein extraction. Now I need to finally mix all the fat, all the seasonings, the venison. I need to mix that all together, and I need to run it through a fine blade so that it will have that texture that you're looking for with smoked sausage. All right, get the grinder going. We're gonna run this as fast as we can through here. You don't want to waste any more time than you have to. And you know, even if you need to, separate the meat. Keep half of it in the freezer, staying cold, and use the other half. Now this grinder runs pretty fast with this, so I'll just keep it all out together. You're gonna need this top pusher right here, whatever you call it, little plunger thing, to push that ground meat through that grinder. Alright, we're going to run up through all this, get it all mixed together nice and right. I'll be back with y'all in just a minute. Alright, I'm going to go on to the next process with this sausage making. These are the hog casings. Now I have rinsed these off in the sink and got as much, they're full of salt and you know, they're intestines. So you need to clean them up the best you can. I'm gonna rinse these one more time. These are in lukewarm water. So if you have to rinse them a dozen times, by all means, rinse them a dozen times. A lot of times when they're in the package, they get all tangled up with each other. So what you can do is take your knife and cut off the end, because a lot of times it's all boogered up. Just cut off the end, get your fingers and kind of stretch it apart. Dip it down in some water and you're going to clean the inside of this, the inside of the casing. So we're going to clean up the rest of these as we go, if I can get it back open again. There we go. Kind of dip it down. And you'll open that casing up and get any more salt. And you see how you got a bubble right there? That's going to wash the rest of that casing out from the inside. Alright. We're going to move this aside. Now this is the first time I've used this stuffer, so we may have to use a different nozzle. But I think these will fit over it. May have to go to the smaller one. I think we might have to go to the smaller one. Now, this is the little time consuming part because you're going to take your time with this.
Or you might rip it.
Yeah, we're going to have to go to a different one. This one's a little too big.
Yeah.
Let's swap this out real quick. And you know, you're getting these hog casings. They're the actual intestines of the hog, so they're not all going to be the same size. They're all going to vary just a little bit. We're going to go with this one right here. And we'll wash these all when we get done.
We got big sizes of them.
What, Logan?
We got big sizes of them. We got a big one,
Yeah.
tiny one, and a medium one.
I like how it's got the small one because you can make snack sticks. We like making snack sticks too, don't we, Logan?
Yeah.
Alright, let me get some meat off in here. Load this thing up. Fill it on up. Logan, back up a little bit because you're just help me videotape us fine, buddy. Alright. Get as much as we can get in there. Now, if I was doing summer sausage, it's very important to not get any air in the summer sausage. But since we're doing smoked sausage, it's not as important how you pack this meat in here. Just get it in here and get as much as you can in there. Ooh, it's a windy day out there, isn't it, buddy?
Think so too.
Alright. Let's get this casing on here. And let's get ready to make some sausage. Let me put this off to the side. Once you kind of get a little system going with this, get these things opened up, these casings.
Casings are kind of hard.
They can be. Alright, so you slide it on here. So you see how it's kind of hard to get this casing on here? It don't want to slide. So here's the solution to that. Take your little bit of water.
And
Get
pull.
the casing, get that good and wet, and it will slide a lot better. So you can take the water you have from your casings, just to kind of dip your hand on it and keep it all wet. This horn is almost too big. So just slide it on there. You know, when I first started making sausage, I was always scared I was gonna bust the casing. And you know, you're gonna bust the casings every now and then. It's just kind of the way it is, you know. But if you do bust one, it's not a big deal. I'll show you how to tie one off in just a second. Because we're going to bust one.
It's super easy as well.
I'm pretty sure we're going to bust one. We always do. And that's okay. You just tie it off and keep on going. Alright, so once you get all this casing on here, I think we still got a little bit too big of a horn. It's struggling to go on there.
We can pick a tinier one.
Alright. You get to the end. Tie it off. Just do a half knot. That's all you need. Tie it off. Alright. Man, that's like a struggle. There we go. Alright, so what I like to do is take my knife and just poke a little tiny hole. Just a little nick. Now the reason I do that is to let the air out as I'm pumping. Alright, here it comes. You see how it's trying to fill up with air? It's still got too much air. So what we can do is we can poke another little hole in there. And see how it went back down? Now we can put a little more water on there. Alright, just let it slowly slide out. Back up, Logan. You were way too close. Alright, now just fill the casing up. That's all you're doing. Just fill the casing up. Get it semi-tight, but you don't have to get it so tight that it's gonna bust. Just fill that casing up, and that's really all you gotta do. And it takes a little practice. Put a little more water on there if you have to make sure it'll slide easy. See how we got an air pocket right here. So what you can do with this air pocket, punch a hole in it. Just punch a little hole in it. Don't take much. Just nick it. All right. Just keep on going. We can stop this. You want to talk? No matter what, you gave my people a choice. Now we're going to need a new understanding. Alright, when you get to the end, leave yourself a little room. Alright, leave yourself enough room to tie off another. Watch where you're videotaping. Look. Leave yourself enough room to tie off. Alright, so you're going to do another half knot. Around, tie it, and try to put that knot up against the meat like that. Okay, and you're going to take your knife, you're going to cut off the excess. All right, now we're going to twist them. We're going to make these. So we already got one that's kind of twisted up right there, so we'll come right here in the middle and just kind of, don't force it, but just easily twist. We'll make one out of that one. So we got a small hole right there. That's not that big a deal. Now, if it blew out, it'd be a different situation. We would have to do something different with that. Is this who you want it to be? All right, that's it. Now, I'll take these bags and I'll put them in the bags. These need to sit in the refrigerator overnight. So tomorrow, we'll start the smoking process. All right, we'll put this in the refrigerator. We'll do another one. All right, so I've got about 10 pounds left out of the 20. I want to add some cheese into this. Now I've already done cubed up this sharp cheddar cheese. Just, you know, they don't have to be perfect. Just, these are actually kind of large cubes, but just like 1/4-inch cubes, you know. I did 10 pounds of smoked sausage, and that's just gonna be like breakfast sausage. But I wanna do this other 10 pounds for like grilling and cheddar brats and things like that. Let me get some water bottle. So I'm gonna add a little bit of water to this, so it'll make it easier to mix, and plus it helps it slide through the stuffer a little bit better. All right, got some water in there. And when it comes to cheese, whether you're doing summer sausage or smoked sausage, you can do 10%, you can do 20% cheese. Usually 10% is what most people run. This is about 1.5 pounds of cheese for about 10 pounds of meat. So put it in there, and if you get too much or you get too little, it's not that big a deal, you know. We're gonna get that. Now we'll just use all of it. I said it don't have to be precise. It never has to be precise. This is your meat, so you do it how you want it. All right, so we're just gonna hand mix this. Now, if you ever add cheese, you always want to do this very last step, and you want that cheese as cold as possible and the meat cold as possible. And this is always the last step before you put it in the stuffer, is adding cheese. Do not put cheese in the meat and then put it in your grinder. Just hand mix it, and then it's ready to go. All right, I'll show y'all one more time. We're gonna get the hog casing. We're gonna open it up. We're gonna dip a little bit of water in here just to make sure. Now this water looks awful cloudy, but that's just because it has salt in it. That's all it is. We're just washing the salt out of it. I was gonna show y'all what a blowout looks like, but I haven't had one yet. So, but if you have a blowout, if you're ever making this sausage, it's really not a big deal. You just say when it's coming out, you have a blowout. And what I mean by blowout, you get a hole and the meat just pokes out the side. Just say if you got the blowout right here, you're gonna cut enough back right here. You're gonna take your fingers and push the meat out. Then you're gonna do the same thing, push the meat out this way, where you'll have the casings over here, right? So then you'll tie off this side, and then you can tie off on this side, and then you can keep going with the casing. And then you'll just have a smaller strand of links right here. It's not a big deal at all if you do have a blowout. Because you're gonna have them. It's gonna happen. There's no way around it. But you can, you know, the better you get with it, the fewer and fewer blowouts you're gonna have. You kind of get to a point to where you know how much that casing can stretch, and you know its capabilities, and it doesn't happen near as much. And see, I got my hand over it, and all I'm doing is I'm just filling the casing up. There's a little bit of air in there, and so you can eyeball it and just go at your own speed. And there's really not much to it. All right, now leave yourself a little bit of room. Stop right there. Pull it off. Pinch the meat down. Tie it off in a half knot. Try to get it close to the actual sausage. Cut off the excess. Put that little piece off to the side. So when you go to make these links, pinch it. Just pinch it with 2 fingers, and it will help prevent a lot of blowouts. You'll get a lot of blowouts from doing this. Pinch it, and you can make them whatever length you want. All right, do another one about right there. Some people like to be real technical with this. I'm not one of those people. I just tie them off in whatever length that I really want, and that's it. There's not much to it. All right, so right here at the end, I'll show y'all a blowout. That's a blowout. I was pinching the meat back, and then it blew out. So here's what you do. You're gonna take right here behind it, you're gonna pinch it, you're gonna mash the meat out. Give yourself enough room to tie a knot. You can put this meat right back in the stuffer. It's not a big deal. Problem solved. Probably need to squeeze a little bit more out. Look, see, it was still busted right there and I didn't even see it. There you go. Fixed. All right, morning, y'all. We're gonna start the final process of this smoked sausage. This is the smokehouse that I have actually built. I built it 2 years ago. It's about 6 foot tall, about 3 foot wide, if I remember correctly. Really easy to build, just 2x4s and wood paneling on the sides. Stuck me a simple gauge on there. But I've got about 18 pounds of smoked sausage in this right now, and it looks full, but I've just used multiple hooks. I don't have to. I can hang all that on one hook, and I could probably fit close to 100 pounds in here at one time. I haven't even used the hooks on the side, and you see I don't even have all the hooks going all the way down. So, but really comes in handy. I got gasket going down the sides to hold in the heat, and all I'm using is a simple turkey fryer. Crank it up just a little bit. Now what I'm about to do is I'm about to put these smoke tubes in here. I've had them going for a couple minutes. You can get these smoke tubes on Amazon for about 10 bucks, and they just take regular old wood pellets. I'm gonna put these in here. We'll get these going, and this will more than enough. Give you enough smoke between the two of them once they really get going. So what I'm going to do to finish that is, you don't have to do this, but to keep the heat from just going straight up and not really burning but overcooking any meat that's in the center, I'm going to put this big old giant pot that I've drilled holes in the middle of it just to kind of dissipate the heat a little bit better. But we're gonna start the smoking process on this, and we're gonna just do it low and slow. Just slowly bump the heat up from about 100 degrees up to about 175. I'm gonna take the latches, shut it. And I'm also gonna cook some sausage in my electric smoker. I'm gonna show y'all that it can be done. It's on a much smaller scale, but you can certainly cook summer sausage and smoked sausage in here. I've got about, I don't know, maybe 5 pounds in there, and you see it's pretty full. The problem with an electric smoker is obviously you can't put much in there, but when it comes to smoked sausage, you have the links, and the links are kind of long, so you have to kind of wrap them around and loop them to keep them off of that burner right there, because you'll burn them. So what I've learned to do is, since you have to cook smoked sausage at such a lower temperature, this smoker is not designed to smoke at such a low temperature. You need about 150 degrees max. All right, so what I've learned to do is keep the door cracked so it won't fly open and let some of the heat escape, but it still allow it to smoke. All right, so one thing I want to add, if you do decide to use an electric smoker, which this is about your only option, you know, there are some options out there, but there's not many. If you want to make your own, this is about the easiest thing to do, is get an electric smoker. If you use one, you need to drill some holes in the top. It's not going to hurt it. Get you some eye bolts from Lowe's or Home Depot. You can get them about $1 a piece. Get you some big old fender washers. And have you some little eye bolts in there. All right, and then you can get the little meat hooks. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them at Lowe's. You can get them at wherever, you know, and just hang. That way it'll give you the ability to hang this stuff in the electric smoker. So if you want to try it out and just do it on a smaller scale, this is a very good solution, and it's an option that you can use. As you can tell, I've had this thing for a long time, and I've run a lot of sausages through it. It's very wore out. But we're gonna cook on it to show y'all what it can do. All right, we're gonna do a 2-hour update. It's been 2 hours of smoking this smoked sausage. As you can tell, those smoke tubes, boy, they really put it out. All right, I'm gonna show y'all the difference between the smoke times between the electric smoker and the smokehouse. See, I can control this at whatever temperature I want, and once I kind of crank that knob up on that propane burner, I can control it and leave it alone. I don't really have to fool with it hardly at all. It's not near as temperamental as the electric smoker. Now, I've got it at 150 degrees, but it's taking me close to an hour to get it there because it's so small. And you can tell the sausage is almost done. How it's turning red, that's when you know it's getting close. But it doesn't, you can tell it doesn't put out a whole lot of smoke. It does, but it doesn't put out nothing like the smokehouse. So we're gonna leave the door cracked to let the heat escape. Let's check out the big smokehouse. So I got it right now at about 125 degrees. I'm slowly bumping it up. And it just cooks a lot better in an actual smokehouse. Check this out. Them smoke tubes, boy, they really pump that smoke out. And you can tell, see, these are starting to turn a little bit, but they're nowhere near done. You see the difference. See how these are still a light color. They still got another couple hours to go at least. So it's definitely beneficial to have a smokehouse. You can do it a lot lower, a lot slower. Daggum door back at me. But yeah, 2-hour update. All right, so we're at 3 hours on the little electric smoker. I've done taking some of this out, but I wanted to show y'all what it looks like when they're done. So if you look how it's slightly wrinkled, just slightly wrinkled, and it's a dark red, they're done. They're ready to be packaged. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put them in some ice water. And we're gonna not only wash the skins off a little bit, but the cool water, the ice water, will stop the cooking process. And then once they come down to room temperature, we'll dry them off, and then we will package them. But that's pretty much it with doing smoked sausage. The little electric smoker does it a little bit faster because it's so much smaller and it's harder to control the temperature, but you can certainly do this with any little electric smoker. You can do it with a grill, you can do it with anything. All right, we're gonna do this final process. Now this was some ice water. Of course, the ice is melted. The best thing I found to do is just kind of run them around and kind of get any debris that you would have off of them. You're gonna have a few little spots like that that aren't quite smoked as much as the rest of them. That's okay, it's not a big deal. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna cut the links and we're gonna lay them on a paper towel. This is just how I do it. You can leave the links connected. You know, this is your meat. This is just how I do it. You're gonna get, you know, wash any of the debris that you would have off the casings. There shouldn't be any, but if there is, it'll come off in the water. So we're gonna cut all these links. and we're gonna get them dried off. We're gonna put them through the vacuum sealer, and we're gonna seal them off. And then when you get ready to cook these, they're about 75% cooked. When you get ready to cook them, you can put them in a skillet over the stove. You can put them on the grill. I personally like putting them on the grill. You know, what doesn't taste better on the grill? And when these sausages, after about 15 minutes, you know how they'll swell up and they're really, really brittle. You touch the skin and they can bust. They're done. Take them off, they're done, because you can overcook them very easy. See these little end pieces where I tied the ends? I just cut that off. You don't have to, that's just what I do. We're gonna get these dried off and get these vacuum sealed. And that's pretty much it, guys. Nothing to it. It's not that bad. It's a 2-day process, but once you get a system down, man, you can make some darn fine meat doing it. All right, guys. Final test. Now, I actually busted this piece when I was getting it out of the smokehouse. So I figured we'd do a demonstration on that. But look at that cheese coming out of there. Look at that. Now I put this on the grill and grilled it for about 15 minutes. That's all it takes. But look at that. That's with the cheddar. You talking about amazing. And it's still hot. I'm gonna try a bite. Man, let me tell you what. The snap with that hog casing, the cheese, the seasoning, the texture, you talking about amazing. And you know, this is your deer. You made this. You made this from start to finish. Look at that cheese. Look at that cheese. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Man, this is your deer. You know exactly where it come from start to finish. This is all you. You can do this. You talking about amazing. Watch this pop. Look at that. How it popped. Look at that. Man. It don't get much better than this, guys. I'm gonna have to let y'all go. I gotta finish eating this. You can do it. Have a good one, y'all. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you watching the video if you watched it all the way through. There's a lot of videos out there showing how to make the smoked sausage process. Some of them are more detailed than others. That's just how I do it. May not be everybody's way, but that's my way. I try to do the easiest way possible. I'm going to be putting a lot more videos out here about making summer sausage, snack sticks, jerky, processing your own deer. I would like to focus this channel a little bit more on just processing your own deer, saving yourself some money. Years ago, I got tired of paying for the processor fees. You know, it can get ridiculous, and you hardly ever get your deer back, and you never even know if you're getting all your deer back. You can save a heck of a lot of money if you just invest a little bit of time and a little bit of money. It don't take much. It'll pay for itself in 1 year. You know, if you kill, say, 2 or 3 deer a year, it'll pay for itself. I myself, I try to stay out of the grocery store. You know, I garden year round. I'll be putting some videos like that out. I do a lot of canning. You save a lot of money by doing things yourself, you know. Say I kill 5, 6 deer a year. Everything that I do, it's paid for itself so many times over. So I just like to put some more videos out there for y'all. And if y'all want some more content, y'all just let me know. Appreciate it, guys.